What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new story. I feel like I haven't done many scenarios where I transfer characters from one universe to another. Like I've done a story where Universe 6 and 7 were merged together, and then the one about Jiren being from Universe 7. I feel like simply placing someone in another universe could change a lot in the story. And that's where Zamasu comes in here. Not only is he from another universe, but he's a villain too. So that got me thinking, this could make for an interesting story here. And that's exactly what we're covering here. Today, we'll begin covering what if Zamasu was from Universe 7. Now, one thing a lot of people don't know about Zamasu is that he was actually in North Kaio before becoming the Supreme Kai's apprentice. That means he's essentially Universe 10's King Kai. They both have the same position. So, simple change here, right? We're gonna have Zamasu just replace King Kai. Well, not exactly. I did think about doing that, but as I tried to write a story with that, well, things changed a little too rapidly, to the point where it wouldn't even be about Zamasu anymore. It would be more like, what if Goku didn't train with King Kai? Because realistically, what I think would have happened there is Goku would have died, and he would have wanted to train, but Zamasu definitely wouldn't be training him. And even if he did, it's not like he could teach Goku Kaioken, or the Spirit Bomb for that matter. So yeah, Goku would train in Otherworld, but he'd have to completely change who he's training with, and I don't even know if he'd grow strong enough for his battle because once he goes to Earth and fights Vegeta, well, he wouldn't have the great training or techniques he learned from King Kai. So I saw that ending with Vegeta killing Goku and then Earth getting destroyed. And I could make a scenario out of that, but then it would lose focus from Zamasu. So I'm not saying that idea is out of the question, it's just that I want it to be focused on him here. So the other idea I had is that he has the same position that he has normally, a Supreme Kai's apprentice. Simply, we just swap him with Kibito. Of course, our story would start much later, but I think this one works a lot better, and it keeps its current position. We'll say that Zamasu is the former North Kaio of Universe 7, and Kibito's in his place in Universe 10. And of course, King Kai is where he normally is. Funny enough, Kibito isn't really too fond of mortals either, at least he wasn't in the Buu saga, so maybe we'll explore that down the line. Nothing changes until after Cell. If anything, the only thing that would change here is that Goku might hear King Kai mention Zamasu in passing because he'd be the successor of Zamasu. Shin is trying to come up with a plan to stop Babidi. He knows when Babidi's going to try and strike, and he knows that he's on Earth. And he'd probably come to the same solution as he did normally. Have Babidi's minions gather energy and then use that to find his ship. He fills Zamasu in on the plan because he's coming to Earth too. And Zamasu's a bit surprised. They're going to work with the mortals there on Earth? Well, yeah, they have to help out. Zamasu's a little conflicted on this. He thinks they should deal with it themselves. But Shin says if Buu's not stopped, they'll all die. He's seen firsthand how destructive Buu is. But in Zamasu's eyes, the gods shouldn't have to bail out the mortals like that. Besides, they're gods of creation, not destruction. Why are they going to go around killing someone? Shouldn't they just have Beerus do that or something? Well, first off, Beerus is asleep, so no. And second, Shin still thinks it's good to be proactive here. Zamasu's been kind of a weird student for him. He's definitely a prodigy. Really strong, in fact. In the Dragon Ball Super anime, for example, he was strong enough to fight Super Saiyan 2 Goku, who was really cracked by that point because even though it's just Super Saiyan 2, you have to consider how strong he is at that point in the story. And this is only a couple years before that, so even if we lowball it and say he's only equal to Super Saiyan 2 Goku in the Buu saga, still, Zamasu's really powerful. And realistically, with Super's crazy power scaling, he'd be so far beyond that because he was equal to Super Saiyan 2 Goku in that saga. But for the sake of this video, we'll just say he's equal to Super Saiyan 2 Goku in the Buu saga, just so he doesn't absolutely fodderize everything. Let's just chalk it up to his training not being as great, but still good enough for him to be this strong. He is still growing at a rapid pace too, and Shin recognizes that his student is even stronger than him, which is great. He's going to make a really good Supreme Kai, but there's still something off about him. There's a darkness in his heart that he's noticed. It's nothing that can't be fixed, but it does worry Shin, especially the way Zamasu talks about mortals. Shin can't tell if he's suspicious of them, he dislikes them, or he loathes them. Anyway, Zamasu goes along with Shin's plan, and the two of them go to Earth, and they're at the World Tournament waiting for their time to strike. This is Zamasu's first exposure to the mortals here on Earth. Actually, strong mortals in general. He gets to watch them fight, and the tournament actually starts out pretty normal. Nothing would change until they get involved. It intrigues Zamasu. He didn't realize the mortals have gotten this strong, and that does worry him a bit. Mortals being stronger than gods. That's definitely a recipe for disaster. At the very least, more motivation for Zamasu to grow stronger. The tournament itself actually continues like normal too, even past the point when Spopovich and Yamu get involved. Remember, he is just replacing Kibito here, and he's kind of just going by Shin's plans at this point, so really the only thing Zamasu's done is go in the ring against Gohan, seeing his power up close too. Otherwise, no one really knows anything about him, and he hasn't done anything. He still finds it so strange that he has to work alongside everyone here, but Shin is right. It's for a greater purpose. Defeating Majin Buu is more important than Zamasu's own pride. They arrive at Babidi's ship, and pretty much right off the bat, Dabura attacks them. Since Zamasu's replacing Kibito here, let's say he attacks Zamasu. Quickly he gets ready to launch a ki blast, but Zamasu reacts quickly enough, parrying Dabura's arm and plunging a ki blade right into his torso. This doesn't kill him, but it actually does injure him. Dabura also reacts in the nick of time. Zamasu says it's time to punish him for his transgressions. He knows Dabra's the Demon King. He's bad news in general. And it probably wouldn't be so bad to expunge him. Holding on to his stab wound, Dabra smirks. He welcomes this battle. A brief fight ensues, and Zamasu knows to make it quick, partially because of the whole energy thing, and partially because he just wants to kill this guy. Shin can see his rage bubbling up, but he doesn't think much of it. Dabra is the Demon King after all, and he just tried to kill Zamasu, so here, it can kind of be ignored. What he doesn't realize is that this is a symptom of a greater issue. Zamasu nearly kills Dabra, but Dabra is able to play him, spitting on Zamasu and turning him into stone. The wounded Dabra returns into the ship, and everyone goes inside ready to fight. This would include Krillin and Piccolo, because they avoid being turned into statues, but they'll still just be bystanders here. The first few fights go like normal, and then Dabra fights Gohan, but Dabra is still injured. It's not like he really had much time to heal up either. And due to those previous injuries, even though the original fight was kinda dragged out, in this one Gohan would have a clear upper hand and he kills Dabra. But just before he dies, he communicates with Babidi about Vegeta, leading to the birth of Majin Vegeta. Right as Dabra is killed, this is when Babidi starts to possess him. Once Zamasu is freed from the stone, he immediately rushes into the ship, angered beyond belief. And he's only angrier when he gets in there, seeing that Vegeta is given into Babidi and now has become one of his minions. Everyone is teleported to the World Tournament. Shin tries to catch Zamasu up, but he can clearly see what's happened here. That mortal's mind is weak. No, that's not the case. He willingly gave into it. Still, that changes nothing for Zamasu. His mind simply is weak. And Vegeta turns to Zamasu, holding a hand out, charging a ki blast and getting ready to kill him. But Zamasu doesn't back down. Looks like he struck a nerve. Shin tells him to not egg him on, but then Goku steps in front of him. Vegeta fights with him. These mortals are sickening him so much. Not just Vegeta, but Goku too, thinking that he has to save Zamasu. He could fight his own battles. Why is this mortal trying to act like his guardian? Not to mention, why are the two of them having some petty battle over this? Greater things are at stake here. These two are buffoons. He at least had a better experience with Gohan. He seemed more well adjusted. But he even got to see a little bit of Gohan's rage against Popovich. These mortals are so volatile, and with power like that, it's an issue. Vegeta goes to fight Goku like normal, and Zamasu goes along with Shin and Gohan. And it gives Zamasu more time to ruminate. That idiot Vegeta is going to help Majin Buu be revived, and same for Goku too. Both of them think they don't have to answer to anyone. Vegeta willingly got possessed, and as for Goku, he's still going ahead with the fight. Gohan tries to convince Zamasu that Vegeta isn't all that bad, but Zamasu says how could he know? I mean, look at what just happened. If he's not a bad guy, then surely he's an idiot. And you know, Gohan can't really defend Vegeta here. He doesn't get why Vegeta did that. Now, without Dabra there, Babidi doesn't let them into the ship right away, but Zamasu simply creates a Keyblade, cutting the door open. They descend down to the lowest level and see Babidi face to face, and Babidi then transports all of them outside. Gohan tries to attack him, and Babidi just simply teleports away. He's a bit concerned. He just needs to hold them off for a few more moments. But as Babidi teleports away, Zamasu teleports behind him, plunging the blade right through him. Shin is relieved at first, but then they realize it might be a mistake, because right after that, Buu begins to awaken, and Babidi calls them fools. Without him around, no one will control Buu. He'll truly be unstoppable. Using the last of his energy, he teleports over to where Buu is. Right as Buu reforms, Babidi's first command is to heal him, which he does. They try and fight Buu, but it goes pretty much like normal. Gohan's defeated, and so are Shin and Zamasu. But Zamasu's a little bit better off than the others. He searches around for Shin and finds the injured Gohan. He could kill him right here. This mortal's too strong to be let loose, but he shouldn't have those thoughts. He chalks it up as a random intrusive thought, and he heals Gohan instead. Gohan's not like the others, but he's still at least complacent. Vegeta and Goku irk him, and he doesn't even know about Trunks just yet. This is the first time he's directly interacting with mortals, and it's not really going too well. After healing Gohan, they find Shin, and Zamasu heals him quickly. Shin has no other choice. They're going to the sacred world of Kai. And Zamasu thinks Gohan shouldn't be there, but the circumstances are dire, so Shin convinces him. With this, everything between Buu and everyone on Earth goes pretty much like normal. He's left to his own devices with Babidi, and Zamasu being here isn't really going to change anything until Goku arrives on the planet. Gohan would still try and pull the Z-Sword, eventually pulling it out and then breaking it, which would infuriate Zamasu, but they see Elder Kai's released. And amidst their time talking with Elder Kai, Zamasu pesters him, asking who sealed him away because if there's some sort of monster out there, especially if it's immortal, Zamasu wants to deal with him. And Elder Kai is really hesitant to say, but he reveals that Beerus was the one to seal him away. Beerus? The god of destruction? Can they really not trust anyone when even the god of destruction tries to do this against a Kai? From what he hears, it was over something petty too. But Elder Kai doesn't focus on it right now. The ritual happens with Gohan while Goku stays on the planet, and he asks Zamasu if they could spar. Zamasu does seem really strong after all, so why not? Zamasu says that Goku needs to take things a little more seriously. He's not some meathead that loves fighting like him. But it could be a good chance to see how strong these mortals really are, and Shin says they should do it. The two briefly battle, and Goku then shows off Super Saiyan 3. Since he's not in the living world anymore, he doesn't need to hold back anymore. Zamasu is able to contend with him in Super Saiyan 2, but once Goku transforms, it's too much for him. The remainder of the Buu saga goes normal too. Hey, for once we have a Buu saga in this scenario, but it's pretty much the same thing. Elder Kai shows them how to use the Potara, and that's Zamasu's first exposure to it, and he's careful to not accidentally make a permanent fusion between him and Shin, so there's nothing like Kabito Kai here. Though, I guess if we were to come up with a fusion name for that, would it be like Shinmasu? Or maybe it would be their Demon Realm names, though we don't know Zamasu's. I don't know, comment a fusion name between them below, just for fun. So Zamasu sees Potara in action with Vegito, and he even gets to go to Namek, seeing the Dragon Balls used with Purunga. And of course he sees everything Majin Buu does. The seeds have been sown for his hatred to grow, his experience with Majin Buu, the Mortals, Dabra and Babidi, his fight with Goku, the breaking of the Z-Sword, the fact that Beerus sealed Elder Kai. Is everyone in this universe incompetent? It sure seems like it. Some time passes after Buu's defeat, and everyone on Earth is celebrating. Zamasu is invited too. But this isn't much of a celebration for him. Here he gets to see more of what the Earthlings are like in peacetime, but still, it really doesn't sit right with him. There was also someone watching the events of the Buu saga pretty covertly. Zamasu is alone on the sacred world of Kai one day. He's looking through Elder Kai's crystal ball, and then he comes across someone that he doesn't really know personally, but it's someone he knows of. He was checking up on what's going on in the Demon Realm. He did kill their king, so there's probably going to be some instability. The person he sees is Rinsu, and she's actually been trying to contact Zamasu. Seeing what happened in the Buu saga, she tries to exploit this. Zamasu is strong, and he's pretty malleable. She gets in contact with him eventually, saying she needs help regarding the Demon Realm. He wonders why she doesn't just go to Shin for this, because that is her brother after all. But Rinsu says this could be a good assignment for him. She could also see that his intentions align more with hers than Shin's, and that he's feeling a bit disillusioned recently. How does she even know that? Well, she was watching everything that happened with Majin Buu. She doesn't mention that she was trying to collect a sample of him, but she probably won't even need that now if she gets Zamasu to do her dirty work. She has a proposal. Of course, Dabra is going to have a successor, but she doesn't like him. She wants to be the Demon Queen, and if Zamasu helps her out, well, that could be a very fruitful alliance. Imagine having the ear of the Demon Queen, having good relations with the Demon Realm overall. Zamasu also meets Glorio here, and if this doesn't work out for Rinsu, she's just going to rely on him for help. Who knows, Goma's probably going to try and strike soon. She's sure that he's scared of the Earthlings. It takes a bit of convincing, but Zamasu reluctantly agrees. He only considers it because she's Shin's sister, and it could make for a good alliance. Naturally, they are at odds because she's from the Demon Realm, but what if they did have that alliance? But he asks her what Shin would think about this. Well, eventually Zamasu will be Supreme Kai too. Consider this being proactive. But just don't kill Degasu in the process. Zamasu appears at Goma's castle, and with no hesitation at all, he executes Goma. It wasn't really a tough job. Degasu's terrified seeing a fellow Glind here. That's Shin's apprentice. But Zamasu says everything will fall into place eventually, and he looks forward to his alliance with Degasu too. What does he mean? Then Rinsu steps in. She apologizes to Degasu for keeping him in the dark, and she commends Zamasu for his work. Good job. She's surprised he's working for the Kai. He'd be better suited here. He tells her that while they all may be Glinds, the godly realm that he's a part of, it's a much higher echelon than what she's a part of. But Rinsu can clearly see that he has some disagreements with them, and maybe the current way that the gods operate are inefficient. Right, well, that is kind of true. Zamasu now has the Demon Realm's ear. In a way, he'll be ensuring peace and making more connections. He's not sure how to tell Shin or if he should even tell Shin about this. Rinsu says that they could just keep it quiet for now. Shin doesn't need to know that he was involved, and if he does find out, she'll help him. Though as Zamasu returns back home, he's wondering what Goma was looking for. Rinsu did mention he was going to try and become strong somehow, and Degasu eventually confirmed this, saying that he was going to look for the third eye. Apparently it's something Dabra's father had that made him really strong. Interesting. Zamasu will keep that in mind. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What do you guys think about this story so far? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.